Welcome back to the Changing Earth podcast with author Sarah F. Hathaway and co-host Chen Gibson. Blending survival, fiction, and fact to bring you entertaining education that will help you dream, survive, and thrive. And now, here's your host, Sarah F. Hathaway and Chen Gibson.
Chapter 53. Thunder rolled in the distance as Cole sat flipping through paperwork at his desk. He needed to replenish crews down south and ship some more refugees back for training. Trucks were going up to Empire, and another rotation of mechanics coming down. However, all he could think about was getting Cassidy and Erica out of that camp. A welcome knock came at the door, and Jessup walked in. "Sir, all the crews are in, and the trucks are ready to send to Empire." A loud thunderclap hit outside the window, drawing the men's attention. "We'll send them out in the morning. I want all the forces in for the evening. The storm coming is a concern." "I'll let them know," Jessup assured him. "Where's Johnny?" "Sir, I believe Private McClintock is at Dolores' place with Sergeant Chappie." Cole chuckled. "Not a bad idea for a restless night. Wrap up here. I'm calling it an early night." Cole stood up, putting his papers away. "Are you sure, sir?" Jessup asked. "We'll see how it goes," Cole declared with a sly smile. The private returned his smile, replying, "Excellent, sir." Cole stood from his chair and walked towards the door. The sound of the rain increased as he crossed through the lobby and exited into the open air. He inhaled deeply, picking up the smell of moisture in the breeze. "Good evening, Major Vergis, sir," one of the groundskeepers greeted him as he walked by. "You got those buildings closed up for the storm?" Cole questioned. "We're ready, sir. Hopefully it will pass quickly," the man assured him. "Only time will tell. Have a nice night," Cole declared, turning to leave. "You too, sir," the man declared, leaving to tie down a loose strap. The thunder crashed as he entered the town, and the streets were barren. The rain intensified as Cole greeted the guard outside and entered Dolores' place. Inside, the music beat loudly, and the conversation was lively. The smiling faces were a welcome sight compared to the sad reality in Las Vegas. Spying him at the door, Jennifer approached with a sly smile. "Major Vergis, what a pleasure to see you tonight, sir." He returned her flirtatious grin, telling her, "You're looking lovely as usual." Running her fingers down his chest, she countered, "And you're just as charming as usual. Come with me. Your boys are over at the private table." Taking Cole's hand in hers, she led him to the back where the mercenary soldiers drank. When she turned to leave, Cole wouldn't let her hand go. She spun back around, looking at him. "Won't you please stay with us?" he requested. "Major Vergis, you know my responsibilities are many," she told him, playing coy. He pulled her in tighter to himself. "I'm sure Dolores won't mind." "Since you called all your forces in, I'm sure my time will be limited," she teased. "Do what you need to do. I'll wait," he assured her. She looked at him with an inviting smile. "A patient man. I like that. I'll be back, Major Vergis." Jennifer leaned in and kissed him on the cheek before leaving to check on the operations. "Major, come have a seat," Chappie declared jovially, pulling out a chair for him. As Cole sat down, Chappie poured him a drink. "What's the word, fellas?" Cole asked, assessing the attendees at the table. Chappie pointed over at a group of beautiful women sitting with some young mercenary soldiers, explaining, "These girls just came in from a free town up north looking for work. Good Lord Almighty, they are fine." Johnny shook his head positively and smiled with satisfaction. "He's not kidding, Vergis." "I'll have to check it out," Cole answered, uninterested. "Where's Ginger and Monroe?" "I think Ginger went to bed early, and Monroe's in the back talking with Dolores," Chappie answered. "What about?" "I don't know," Chappie said, drinking his beer. Cole looked at him curiously, knowing there was more to the story. Cole looked at Johnny, swaying with drunkenness. "I think they're planning a baby shower," Johnny told him. Cole was perplexed now. A baby shower? For who? Chappie shot Johnny a sharp look and cursed the young man. "For who, Chappie?" Cole demanded. Chappie stumbled, looking uncomfortable. "What?" Cole insisted, frustrated with his hesitance. Johnny, tell me what is going on, Cole insisted, looking expectantly at the young man. Ginger is pregnant. Monroe didn't want you to know yet, Johnny admitted. Why not? Cole wondered, kicking himself for not seeing it earlier. Monroe had been acting strange for a while, and he hadn't seen Ginger have a drink in months. You should talk to him about that, Chappie said, protecting his friend's wishes. As Cole stood up to go find Monroe, Jennifer approached him. Her voice was as smooth as silk as she inquired, Major, I have some free time available. You want to go upstairs? He looked to Chappie. Nothing is going to change tonight, sir, Chappie told him. Knowing the truth of his statement, Cole's soul needed a break, an escape from reality. He returned to Jennifer and assured her, if we go up there, we're not coming down tonight. I'm sure the ladies can handle the floor. She took his hand to pull him away from his men. This conversation is not over, gentlemen. You tell Monroe he needs to talk to me, Cole ordered. Yes, sir, I'll pass the message along, Chappie replied. Come on, Cole, leave your business for tonight, Jennifer insisted, kissing him passionately. Sounds like a good idea. Come on, he directed, leading her to the stairs. As the storm raged through the evening, so did Cole's passionate experience with Jennifer. He was lost in the moment, enjoying every curve of her body as a knocking came at the door. Major Vergis, sir? Monroe called to him. I'll be right back, Cole assured Jennifer as he rose from the bed and donned his uniform. I'll be here, she assured him. I can get Alexis to bring us up some food. That would be perfect, Cole replied, kissing her before heading to the door. This better be important, Cole told Monroe as he opened it. Sergeant Bennett is radioing for you, sir, Monroe informed him. Cole closed the door and headed towards the stairs with Monroe. You can take it in Dolores's radio room, Monroe suggested. Do you have something you want to tell me about, Monroe? Cole asked, curious why the man was not telling him his good news. Monroe stopped walking and asked, How do you mean? Cole looked at him accusingly. Please don't. Chappie told you? Monroe asked curiously. Johnny let it slip. Why didn't you want to tell me? That's great news, Tim. Yeah, it is, Monroe agreed, continuing the walk towards the radio room. We'll talk about it later, Cole told him as they reached the room. Everybody out, Cole instructed. The handful of people in the room hustled to leave as Cole entered. Going to one of the radio stations, he picked up a mic. This is Major Vergis. Bennett's crackling voice answered him. Major Vergis, sir. When was the last time you saw Erica and her family? At the camp after the battle. Why? Cole wondered. The refugee squads never returned, Bennett said, concerned. You don't think she would have run? Without her youngest son, not a chance. That woman is all about her family, Bennett assured him. I noticed. I'm afraid she's in trouble. The rain up north has been relentless. We're buckled down for the night, but I can send crews in the morning, Cole suggested, knowing no one was going anywhere in this rain. I'll start looking from my direction. Have you talked to the general lately? Not really. Why? I'm still curious about her past, Bennett explained. A big chunk of her file is missing. Is it confidential, Cole asked, thinking maybe it was just sealed to a higher rank. No, it's literally missing, and I'm curious why, Bennett explained. I'll contact him first thing in the morning as well. We'll be in touch. Hey, Bennett, Cole asked. Yeah, Bennett responded. Have you ever thought about leaving the feds and joining the Mercs? I could get you ranked here. Bennett laughed, amused by Cole's suggestion. Nicholton tried to get me to go private, and normally I would say no without a thought. But, Cole wondered about Bennett's hesitation. But Erica, meeting her and experiencing her passion for restoring our country, I don't know. But what I do know is I have to find her. The best way to do that is with the federal resources I have at my fingertips. Wise decision, my friend. We'll be in touch, Cole told him. He put the mic down and opened the door. Everything okay, Major? Monroe asked as he exited the room. Get Chappie and meet me upstairs, Cole commanded sharply. Yes, sir, Monroe answered, turning towards the tables. Cole went back upstairs to the hallway and waited for the men. They arrived with curious looks on their faces. Monroe, Chappie, I want you to put teams in place to organize storm cleanup without either of you here. Yes, sir, Chappie agreed. But Monroe asked, where are we going, sir? Erica's rescue team never returned to the camp. You don't think they jumped ship, do you? Monroe wondered. Bennett doesn't think so, and I don't either, Cole assured him. I thought you weren't sure about this woman. And how is Cassidy going to feel about it, Monroe wondered. I know how difficult this will be, but Erica swayed Bennett's opinion, Cole informed him. Chappie's face crinkled in confusion. Mr. By the Book? That's a dang miracle in itself. Cole nodded at him. Exactly. Beyond the fact that I think she can be the voice we need, if she can do that to Bennett, she's the one. Okay then, we'll mobilize the teams in the morning, Monroe agreed. Where are you going, Vergis? Chappie wondered. I need to meet with General McClintock. If Erica is the voice we need, we'll have to organize this without the help of the militia. That will be a trick, Monroe commented. I haven't given up on them yet, but Eli pulled out. Sounds like you got your work cut out for you. Don't worry about Erica. We'll find her, Monroe assured him. I don't doubt that for a minute. Now, if you'll excuse me, I'm going to enjoy this night before the games begin. Major Vergis, sir, Jessup called as he approached, trying to catch his breath. Yes, Private, Cole responded, irritated by the young soldier's approach. Sir, you have to come now. There's a helicopter waiting for you. General McClintock wants to see you now. What happened? Cole asked. The Ogallala collapsed, sir, Private Jessup explained. The Ogallala what? Cole asked. It's a large reservoir that stretches from the panhandle of Texas into Nebraska, Jessup relayed. The earth collapsed. It's a mess, sir. Holy shit, Chappie said, listening in on the conversation. Jessup, go get Johnny and meet me at the chopper, Cole commanded. Looks like things just got more complicated, guys. Find Erica. I'll be in touch. Yes, sir, they replied as Cole laughed. Hello, and welcome back to the Changing Earth podcast. This is episode number 458, season 15, episode 53. 53. A lot of chapters in this book. And we're not even done yet. We got like 10 more, I think, something like that. 7 more. So, hey guys, how is my audio sounding? If you're out there in radio listening land, I would really appreciate any kind of feedback. During our Family Feud episode, it was a little bit choppy. I've been working on the tech, so I just want to make sure that I'm dialed in, and any feedback there would be great. A couple more small favors to ask you guys. Looking to get some new novel reviews. If you haven't gone out and reviewed my books yet, please do so over at Amazon, especially the later ones, beginning ones, whichever ones. You guys have been listening to the podcast, you know the stories. Go out and give that a review. That would be awesome, and I'd really appreciate it.
Review or Swenson will hunt you down.
That's right. Sheila's coming. He's coming. Yeah, and speaking of, go over to my YouTube channel as well. Give that a like and a subscribe. We're trying to get loaded up for Hollywood, guys, and any help that I can get from y'all, the better. The more we can show that there's a community built around the novels and that they're still hot commodity and all that good stuff for all their sales reps, the better. So please head on over to YouTube, check out the Swenson videos we've made, all that kind of stuff. Give it a like and subscribe over there. All right. So it's been a couple weeks.
Mm-hmm.
It's been like 3 weeks since you were on.
I was.
I don't know. You've been on sabbatical.
Rick and then Family Feud?
Yep.
Man, that was fun. I listened to that.
Yeah.
Laughing the whole time. That was an awesome show.
I mean, clearly you can see how cheated we were by... I'm just saying.
You're up against Swenson. What do you expect?
Yeah,
the
totally.
villains are going to play fair and square. Come on.
Totally rigged against me. So we're going to work on the host avenue. No drinking for the host. And
Erica should be used to being behind the 8 ball.
Yeah, I know the uphill battle. It's good. It's good. Yeah. So we will be doing more Family Feuds. We're going to collect points all year long as we're going through season 4. And then at the end, we'll do whatever 2 teams has the most points will go up against each other in the grand championship. And we're going to try and do a fundraiser get some prizes out to people and make that one a big event. So stay tuned in. Those are fun shows. Obviously, we're just, having a blast and letting our hair down. So that was a lot of fun.
You're going to get into the era of like color TV, or you going to stay in the 70s?
We are going to be upgrading. So I had told Dave that I was going to send him a game because we have a really cool version. He's like, no, you don't got to do that. I got a game. It failed to mention that it's from like 78. I'm like, dude, nobody, like we were all like, I wasn't even born yet. My husband was like 3, Dave's the only one who knows the answers.
That added just for some funny comments, like the Chihuahua and stuff.
Oh, I know. The Chihuahua. The hair plugs. That was my bad. I was like, yeah, hair plugs. Like, duh, the 70s. Hair club for men.
It was a great show. I had a lot of fun listening to it.
Yeah, I got some great.
And Teresa, with all the spaghetti comments dropped in there, I was rolling.
She was right in character. She did so good, and
she was awesome.
I just loved it. And then come down to Fast Money. TJ gets absolutely nothing, and Teresa almost took
the
it.
Ball, man.
Yeah, she almost won it all on her own. I was like, that's just, no wonder you got her around. You would be dead without her. So. Yeah.
It was awesome.
So we'll have to, I'm just saying, like a little insider info. His life does get rather interesting after she's not like the sounding board anymore. I'm just saying. So got to stay tuned for the audio drama. I am just finishing up episode. Well, I say just finishing up. I'm about 3/4 of the way through with episode 8. So that next block, we'll definitely be listening to that next block before we go to prepper camp. So that'll be fun. We'll be halfway through season 4 by the time we go to prepper camp. So woot! Speaking of prepper camp,
it's like less than 2 months.
Right around the corner. Are there still tickets for sale? Do you know?
I don't know.
Okay. Yeah, I was thinking about maybe bringing my mom out there, but I don't know if she's going to go for it. So. But, yeah, it's a lot of walking for her,
Mm-hmm.
So, unless I can get somebody with a golf cart to, like, tote her around for me.
Oh, my goodness. You take your life in your own hands with the driver of that golf cart.
Yeah, I'll get Ken to do it.
That is crazy.
She would love it. Oh my gosh, those two would have a blast.
I'm surprised we haven't been swimming in the lake yet with that golf cart.
Oh, challenge issued. No, I'm kidding. I'll be like, Doug, want to mastermind a plan?
Those brake lines, they look like somebody touched them. Cut them.
Nah.
Tampered with.
It would just be a little push from behind, oh, oops, it fell over. You guys are in the lake. Uh-oh, sorry. All right, what else we got? We got prepper camp with some great shows. Yeah, Rick, the CERT training, information, bomb episode. If you guys didn't listen to that one, please go back and listen to that one. It is exactly what we've been looking for as far as what you can do for your community to really start a healthy network that's not like weird, well, it can be awkward, like, hey, do you guys ever think about like tomorrow the world might end and you need to be prepared? And they're like, yeah, you're a Fruit Loop. So, I thought it was a spectacular way of like just using kind of the neighborhood watch to extend that and help each other out, like really foster
starting conversations.
Yeah.
Without sound like you're a freak.
Yeah. Oh, gee, I want to be prepared. Oh yeah, got a spare tire in my car. Got insurance on my house. Prepared. So. But anyway, I've been seeing a lot of good things about that as well. Did you see that picture that Ryan posted that was like in a store and it's like prepper? Yeah. For the inner prepper in you.
Sign at the end of an aisle. Yeah, it was like a whatever. It was like Hobby Lobby or something.
Yeah, it was like a pretty holistic looking place. Yeah. I don't either. But so it's it's mainstreaming out. We're welcoming you guys. Like, if you're new here, don't ever feel that you're not welcome, because this community is really, really welcoming, and we're all just here to work together. And what we like to see is new people getting involved, because the more people we have involved, then we have prepared communities.
James, the Intrepid Commander, is all about getting the community involved.
Right?
He's not like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. But like the community garden can be kind of weird.
Yeah.
Like, where do you have it and who's working it and this and that? And, there's a lot of like aspects as far as like my time versus your time and who gets the benefits of it. Right. But the way that the CERT teams are set up, I mean, it's just community emergency response team. So everybody knows what they're getting on board for. They know they're volunteering off the bat. And, I think it's a great way to go about it.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. I was into it before as well. All right. If only I had 2 of me, then I would have more time to be able to
about
do.
10 of you.
Yeah, I do. It's not a joke, but that's all right. Onward and upward. Okay, so on the Vergis story, if you guys didn't remember from before, because it's been a little while, almost a month since we listened to the Vergis show, Hall was still hiding, Ginger's pregnancy and everything from Vergis, and that kind of came out on the table this week.
Whoops.
Yeah, it's for get the kid drunk and then ask him questions. Yeah. Always the way to go. So, so he's dealing with that. Has his little night of fun, but the Ogallala collapses. Erica's missing. So we are getting ready to come into the end of the book, and it's going to be exciting run through. I'm looking at the schedule right now. I'm like, are we going to be able to finish it before prepper camp? Maybe. We got 8 left. So counting this one. So we'll see. We're going to be tight. I don't think so. I think it'll have to be after prepper camp. Alrighty. So in the book, they are surviving the storm that's coming in. I thought it was a great time to talk about surviving a megastorm. I've actually had this prepared for like weeks.
You need to stop rating all this craziness, because the real world just falls into. Come on now.
It is kind of eerie how that happens sometimes. That's no joke. So I'm going to turn. I think I'm up a little loud. What do we got? Who's out there in the chat room? Come on. How are we sounding? Nobody's out there. Where's Garden Girl at? Get your butt over here. Give me some chatting going on. Oh, well, we'll find out afterwards. All right. So, Megastorm. We've talked a lot about different aspects of preparedness. Flooding, what to do when there's a hurricane inbound, wildfire preparation, tornado preparation. Guys, it's loaded up on my website. If you go to Survival Learning to that link, you are going to have a plethora of information on surviving any storm, what to do during the flooding and that. So this will kind of just be an overview of like thoughts and more stuff that I'm learning as I'm down in a different region with different things to prep for and think about, right? Depending on where you are.
Yeah, weather coming off the Gulf is a little different than the Pacific, huh?
Right? And like California's on fire right now.
Mm-hmm.
So, it's
not
just
like
different.
a good thing.
Yeah, no, they're literally like,
woo, go sports team.
They're literally like burning to the ground, both socially, politically,
no kidding,
for real, geographically. I mean, it's not good. So anyway, much happier here. So before any kind of event, obviously preparation is key. That's why we're here every week talking about it. Encouraging people to get on the ball. One of the things that I thought was important is, we were just talking about this, how is your community prepared for such an event? So, like down in Galveston, they have seawalls and whatnot that protect from storms, levees over in Louisiana. They've got wildfire plans that go into action in different communities in California. They've got tornado plans, evac plans for tsunami activity, this kind of thing. So I bet your community actually has a plan if you just take the time to look it up and see what that is.
Mm-hmm.
So there's usually some kind of like anything.
Go to your town or your county or your state. All the websites usually have stuff in there.
Right. And they usually give alerts too. So like in the wildfire areas, that was a big deal. You can sign up for the alerts.
A lot of the local TV shows, TV stations have it too.
All right.
I know like in Charleston, the local TV stations all had like hurricane handouts with all the routes and stuff,
Yep.
explanations of what the different categories and stuff is.
Yeah. So that's, I mean, you got to know how like your community is prepared to react. So you know what's going to happen.
Yep.
Where like assistance centers and things like that might be. What if something happened? You couldn't get to a hospital. You got to know where like a backup assistance center, those kind of things are. So that's all great info. Personal preparation. So obviously don't wait for the storm, right? Like
to start thinking about a plan.
Yeah. To think about like, wow, I really should have like covered up my windows, or we should have known where to go when this tornado was ripping through, that kind of thing.
Or cleared the brush around the house, or
right for the wildfires. Yes. Yeah, it's too late once it's on your doorstep. So you need to do your personal preparation as well. Of course, that involves like what special needs does your family have? Do you have somebody who's elderly? Do you have somebody who needs medical attention? Do you have somebody who needs assistance, from day-to-day life? That's going to make a big difference in your plan versus mine.
Mm-hmm.
Then, of course, your food, water, extra clothes, blankets, all that should be in the safest location. If you're looking at flooding coming in, you probably don't want that on the ground floor.
You want the axe in the attic.
You want the axe in the attic. That's right. If it's a windstorm that's coming on, then you probably don't want your supplies in the attic. The roof gets ripped off, that kind of thing. So it is the safest location per the threat that you are facing. I thought a lot about in California, digging, like pits for supplies. Because if the house burned down, it could burn over the top of a pit and you can still have your supplies right there. But if your house burns down and you just lost $1,500 worth of food,
right?
Yeah, right? Then you're in trouble. So again, what are you facing? Be ready for that kind of thing. The home fortification, sandbags, that kind of stuff. These are things you don't want to be like running out and getting when everybody else
for
is.
A lot of reasons. Because if you have it all staged, like you probably get it for a better price if you're buying, ahead of time, and you're not standing in line and all the tempers and all that stuff. That's time wasted, tempers you have to deal with. It's just so much better.
Sharks that are out there looking to take advantage of people that are in a obscured mind state. Right? You're not as attentive to your situational awareness because you have so much on your mind. So, then of course, can you survive multiple days without power? Every time the hurricane comes through Texas and that is like, they're out of power for a while. Tornadoes come through. You're out of power for a while. Do you have a plan for like how I'm going to survive without power? What's your temperature? Right now, without power in Texas, that's going to be the worst. Okay.
Big old suck sandwich.
Yeah. I think I'd rather like be up north where I can build a fire to stay warm rather than, the air conditioner go down and we're just freaking hot potatoes,
It's so hard to sleep when it's hot.
Yeah.
I have the hardest time.
No, you literally have to like drape your sheets, like dampen the sheets so that it's cool over the top of you. I have a whole article on that as well. If anybody's facing that one, like how to keep cool in the heat. So many preparedness people are like, yeah, I've got 3 freezers full of meat. I'm gonna be so set up because I got these 3 freezers full of meat. Well, when the power goes down in a place like Texas, especially, yeah, what do you intend on doing with all the stuff in your freezers? This isn't a situation where you can just, throw everything in a cooler. Like in Michigan, when the power was go down, it was wintertime. You can put stuff outside.
Put it outside, yeah.
Right.
As long as you keep the animals out, you're good.
Yeah. But here, everything is gone in the freezers. I've watched a lot of freezers go down in just the little storms, just a couple days of storms. And like one of my buddies, I give him tons of frozen peaches, and he's like, yeah, I lost everything because the freezer went down. I'm like, dude, you got to think about that ahead of time. What are you going to do with your freezer stuff? Insurance note. If you're filing an insurance claim anyway because of damage, typically that food is covered on your insurance policy if it was like an unforeseen outage. Like there's a trigger for your insurance policy to go into effect anyway, then that food is usually covered as long as it's above your deductible amount. So if you're already filing a claim for something anyway and you lost a whole bunch of stuff in your freezer, you might as well tack that on as loss. So it does work.
How do you like take pictures of it, or how do you what's like proof of?
Yeah, you can usually at that point when it usually goes into a catastrophic loss. So once you're in cat loss, they have already paid out over $24 million. They know a lot of people lost a lot of stuff, so they're a lot less likely to kind of nitpick what was in there. If you were like, yeah, I had a whole freezer full of prime rib and T-bones, then maybe they're going to question that a little bit more.
I mean, if you just bought like half a cow or
honestly, something. I had a client who is a chef, and he's got a lot of money. And so what was in his freezer? It was lobster and like all kinds of really expensive meat and whatnot. So yeah, his was like upwards of, $7,000 in that freezer.
But you could easily like open the freezer, take a picture, and then lay some of the stuff out and take another, some more pictures. It's safer to have the proof than to try to, after you've already thrown it out or however you got rid of it.
And it's so easy these days, right? Like you used to have to save receipts or whatever. Now what I tell everybody, I'm like, you got a cell phone? Just go around your house and video, click. What you have. Yeah. Or take pictures. Boom, 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 boom. Store them in a cloud somewhere. And if anything were to ever happen, you have the evidence right there of what it was. So yeah, really important to take pictures when stuff happens, of course, always. But like I say, they're a lot less likely to kind of nitpick through that claim when it is a catastrophic loss situation. And usually these mega storms, we're there. We're there. Like every time. That's why insurance is getting so crazy. And why everybody's prices are going up so much.
Right.
Okay, so during the storm, what's your safest shelter location? Probably wherever you stored that food.
The wine cellar.
All right. That's it depends, right? Is it, the wine cellar. That's only where Erica survives every time.
That's my favorite.
I don't even like wine. She gets stuck there all the time.
It's like, oh my goodness, I'd have such a hangover.
Right? You're like, she did, like the first time. She's like, well, what do I do? Let's drink. So probably wherever you stored your food is the safest location for you to be as well. Have a route plan for your family. You can have the family map that we always talk about with your grid on it that only your family knows. If you have a group and you have other people that are supposed to meet you, they better have that same map. And also, if you have secondary locations planned, then you have to have a way of telling them which route you took, because they could take a totally different route. You never make it there, and maybe they could have saved you along the way or something, right? So that, we're actually going through that with, some of the people in our group right now is like, okay, if we were to move from location to location, there's a few ways to get that done. How would we give them the heads up on which route we took to get there? So that's
good. Just write some simple like A, B, C, or 1, 2, 3 on whatever, a mirror or a refrigerator or something that they would go. Everybody knows to go check.
Yep. Yeah.
To point towards which route you took.
Yeah.
Everybody knows Route A is this way out of town.
Right, and you could do like we're going to location, say G4 hyphen with the A or whatever, and then everybody would know, okay, that's Route A is what they took. So it's just a little addition that we've recently made because it was like, oh, that's important as well. I mean, when we don't have vehicles, you can't travel as quickly. God forbid if you were on foot or anything, you might never make it. That's a long way to walk places,
I mean, Google Map something and then put it on the walking.
Yeah.
And see how long it takes to get places.
Yeah. I mean, we think of it like, oh, no big deal. I'll be over in North Carolina a couple days. Boop, I'm there, right? But like, if I was walking there, God knows if I'd ever make it, especially in that type of situation.
Sarah?
Yeah.
We're holding dinner for her.
Yeah, right? So that's definitely food for thought there. And that's just something that came up in our strategizing and was like, oh yeah, that makes perfect sense. Don't put yourself at risk to save material things.
Mm-hmm.
How many people have died because they were trying to save their car when it was getting washed away by floodwaters?
Mm-hmm.
It's just ridiculous. Don't put your own life at risk. If you're covered properly on your vehicle, that's going to be covered anyway. And sorry to keep jumping into insurance land, but like your comprehensive coverage is what covers the vehicle from acts of God, basically. That's your flooding, your fire, any trees falling on it, rodents getting into it, that kind of thing. It's usually a cheaper of the two physical damage coverages for your vehicle. So I know that auto insurance is getting really expensive everywhere. So you can opt to just have that comprehensive coverage on it and not the collision. And, at least if there was a flood or like your car got injured in the storm or whatever. And really, at the end of the day, it's a car, not your life. So let the thing go, I don't understand that. Really, it was James Yeager, God bless his soul, that hit that home. It was like, somebody's coming for your house. Wait, you're going to suit up and you're going to stand outside and defend it? Screw it. That's your life. That's your family's life. For what? For stuff. Like, stuff can be replaced. But those people can't. And now, because you were trying to stand up and be all tough and whatnot, people got hurt and you'll never be able to, that's a tough one. So, let the stuff go. It's just stuff. Material stuff. We don't need it. Jesus didn't. We don't. All right. After the storm. Do you have any more pointers for during the storm? We talk a lot about evacuation.
Have a good novel to read. One of the Changing Earth series is probably
yes
something to take your mind off.
Definitely have a good novel to read. And you can buy those at Amazon. You can also head on over to Changing Earth series.
Leave a 5-star review.
Yes, then leave a 5-star review. You got it. You got it. And I'd really appreciate it. So after the storm. Water and electricity never mix. So if there's like any risk that water is lit up with electricity, do not go near it. Like, figure something else out. There's so many, a lot of the deaths that I read about when I'm doing the Changing Earth news for you guys is all because of electrocution in the flood. Not like that people were drowned in the floodwaters or whatever. A lot of deaths due to landslides as well. So be aware of like how saturated is your ground, what's going on with that? Because as we get more and more of these mega storms that are coming through, vast amounts of water that we're not used to, it's going to create new thought patterns, as far as like, what does that look like if you're living in the mountains? I was always worried about my little manufactured home just whoop, right off the hill, bloop, down to the bottom we go. So,
man, I have never looked at trees the same. it's amazing how these trees just like topple over because of heavy, like the root system gets compromised,
Yep.
or heavy winds, and that they'll just crack and
Just
big limbs will fall. Yeah.
yeah, and like the root balls, you know that those roots go out as far as the tree, the canopy above it does. But you get that combination of the super saturated ground with that wind on top, it just boom, takes them right out. There's been something else to watch down here in Texas too, with all the 90-mile-an-hour winds and
Picture. I
stuff.
had a tree fall, 10 yards from my house.
Yeah.
It's like, just fell.
Yeah.
Just fell. I was like, we heard a big crash. I looked outside. The whole root ball came out of the ground.
We had a
Crazy.
huge one out in front of our house when we lived in Cali. It cracked in half. Like the roots didn't even come up.
Yeah.
It cracked in the trunk and went down. We never even heard it. We just walked outside.
That's crazy.
Yeah. And it was like, whoa. And that was a big
I
tree.
never thought about down in suburbia, but
Mhm.
up here in the mountains, holy smokes.
Yeah. Start thinking about it. And you should
Yep.
think about it in suburbia just as much. They come down a lot. They do a lot of damage. I take a lot of claims on it.
Well, yeah, a lot of the suburbia where I was, it was pre-planned. So, like, they clear cut everything, and then they planted these little trees.
Yeah.
on it. So, it was,
The
old
fancy trees. Uh-huh.
yeah, it wasn't the old growth stuff,
That's how they do it more here in Texas as well.
Yeah. which is sad. But anyway.
So beware of any damage that hasn't fallen yet. So exactly what you're saying, the trees.
Yep.
You know, is there something that's like,
Look
oh,
up,
hey,
man.
that limb is actually busted and it's about ready to come down. It's just being held up because it's wedged against this other part. Electrical lines can be the same way. Your home can be the same way. So my neighbor had roof damage. We had roof damage, but the shingles are coming off of his house, right? And some were like just barely there and they, falling down and stuff. So, look up. Yeah, look up. You could always have like a hard helmet or whatever people do, So, I mean, your head is your most precious. You can get
And be proactive too. I sent you pictures. I was rented a cherry picker and we were doing work on my house. And then I went over to my neighbor's house. We pruned some of the trees that had branches, dead branches, around his house. So they're like, that's a storm risk. So
and what a
we
great
got up
deal.
there and
You
cut them down. Yeah. I already had the equipment, so we just went over and did it.
Bingo. Yep. Very neighborly thing to do as well. You're building camaraderie. Yeah. You're the man, Chen.
Mhm.
Such a big heart.
Look up, man.
Yep. Okay, does something need to be tarped or secured better? So if
And
you're
do you have tarps?
Yeah, that's a plan before the storm, right? Plan before the storm.
Mhm.
Yeah. We always have a ton of them because you just never know. That could be your tent, So, you gotta, in the insurance world and stuff, even with FEMA, they're going to want you to take precautions so that you mitigate future damage.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if a hole just opened in your roof, you can't just like, my roof. You have to actually take steps to mitigate that damage. People are going to be very, very busy. So roofers not going to be there instantly. They're going to start triaging basically the order of priority, depending on how bad it is. So, definitely, what have that stuff, the tarp, all of that, so that you can take them to mitigate it.
Yep.
Okay. All right. So one thing too, so we moved to a new location, obviously. And it really gives us a chance to see how did the water flow during the storm? There's areas of our property that became river-esque, that you were like, oh, okay. I see what's happening there now. The gophers have completely filled the cauldron, the thing that goes under the driveway.
Mm-hmm.
There's just it's completely full of dirt now. So, we put gardens.
What, the golfer, the critters?
Yeah. They completely like the sand grows here. It just like grows. It does. I'm telling you, we have like a pile.
That
It just
sounds like
grows.
a horror movie, The Growing Sand.
Yeah. Oh, Garden Girl's finally here. She says we're still choppy. So I'm going to try. I'm going to play with something real quick and see if this makes it better. Since we have somebody out there. Okay, how does that sound, Garden Girl? Does that sound any better? Pardon me while we do a little sound check here. I just needed to know. So let me know how that sounds. Tell me if that sounds any better. Looks like I'm still doing well, so let me know. So that's something we put in gardens in the backyard. And like, how does the water flow around where we put the gardens in and whatnot, right? Because we didn't.
Oh, yeah. It could take you out.
Right? Exactly. Did we change
Take
the
all your
flow?
vegetables.
Yeah. Right? And just do we change the flow of the water in the backyard so it's not weeping off as well? It's now building up at X, Y, or Z behind our house, right? So those are things that when we were putting them in, we didn't really think about that. It's all sunny, nice, everything. You know, luckily, we did put them in good areas and we do have the nice drainage, but we got that taken care of. Okay, so the sounds like my audio is better now. Thank you so much, Garden Girl. That's what I was wondering. There's a couple different settings for this new computer. Has many options for me, so I appreciate that. Thank you for giving me that feedback. So, yeah, just something you don't think about. You're just like out in your yard, you're doing landscaping, you want this there, that here, and, you know, you didn't really realize how it was going to affect things. Okay, after the flood, mold prevention. Where did the water get? Did it get in your house? Did it come in your garage? Did it get a rug? You know, be aware of this stuff and make sure that you are on top of mold prevention. You do not want mold to start in your house. It requires hazmat stuff and whatnot to clean it up. It gets expensive fast. So if you can stop it at the onset, you're going to be way better off. And that might involve cutting out drywall and cutting out insulation and whatnot. But trust me, it's way worth it to take care of it when the problem occurs rather than, oh my gosh, now we have walls full of mold. One thing that you really made me think about was the roadways. Right? How's the roads now? What does that look like? One of our roads, like, because there's there's 3 and 4 ways, but like 2 of the main ways into our house. One of the roads, half of it washed away in the last flooding that we had.
Yeah.
And it's still that way. I mean, it's still pretty bad. So that's something to know about, that like when you're in that situation, that is not an exit route for us.
And did you see the pictures of the flooding at Dollywood? They had like this flash rain, like heavy rainstorm. And there was like rivers through the amusement park, and it washed away one of the roads to get to the parking, so that everybody had to like evac through this other route. It was amazing.
Crazy.
I mean, water's a powerful force.
It is. It really is. So, it's important to respect it. I always respect water. River, ocean, flooding, you know, whatever. Water deserves respect. Okay, and then communities, assisting communities. So you did great. You made it. You were fine. Everything's good for you. What about everybody else? You know, is your community in need of you? That's your community assistance teams, the CERT teams. So if you haven't listened to that show, go back and listen to it. But where can you get help? How can you help? So, Phil and the chainsaw story, right? You might need a chainsaw. Do you know how to safely get on a roof? Do you know how to shut off power? Do you know how to shut off gas? Is your husband the only one who knows how to do that? Then he better be teaching everybody else in the house how to do that. Because what if he's not there?
Yep.
So those are all really, really important aspects as well. So again, your insurance company should be able to help you out. they're going to provide some financial help as long as that loss is covered by your insurance policy. If it's flooding, unless you have a flood insurance policy, it is not going to be covered. That's just how it is. A lot of companies are going to like double deductibles for wind damage on roofs and things like that. So it's really important that you know your policy language ahead of time. And I mean, there's agents all over the place. So I guarantee you, if you keep calling around to different agents that are actually working with clients, that you can find somebody to actually look through it, even if you're not their client, because it might be helpful of getting one, or they're just nice people like me who are going to help you out anyway and walk you through your policy a little bit as best they can. Mm-hmm. FEMA provides additional help for flooding in particular, because what your insurance company just denies, now FEMA is going to take a look at for you. So that it is an option to use FEMA, but remember, they're going to be super busy. There are tons of natural disasters happening all over our country right now, all over the world. And it's going to be a longer process. So you better know how to survive on your own without thinking that FEMA is going to be cutting you a check like in a week, because that is never going to happen. It'll probably be more like a year. Government help. Gotta love it. But it's something. It's some kind of a safety net, which is cool to have a safety net there. So, all right. We got to get into changing Earth news. Oh my gosh, look at how time's
You got
going.
any? You got any good stuff for us this week?
Please, it is so exciting of a time to be on our planet. It is wigging out. It's awesome. So, well, I mean, if you're like an Earth junkie like me, it's awesome. But I think it's really, really exciting because it's been really stable for a long time. And now, like, we're going to get to witness the rock and roll. So, okay, here we go. Weather news.
Dream. Survive. Thrive. This is Changing Earth News.
All right, so Changing Earth news. So we were not here last week, and something very exciting happened last week. The hot spring at Yellowstone exploded like a geyser. And they're like, oh, this happens like once a decade. No, it doesn't. Okay, it doesn't. It's never happened in my lifetime before. Like maybe once a century, maybe. But media was just trying to like pass it off like, oh yeah, it's a toy. It happens all the time. Normal thing. Nothing to see here, you know? No, it doesn't. Okay. It's crazy. It was really cool to see. So if you haven't seen it yet, just look up like the Yellowstone hot spring geyser and you're going to see it. It wasn't like a geyser like Old Faithful, like purr, one little stream. It was like the whole hot spring into the air, boulders the size of your head coming out of it. So really neat stuff. So check it out. Of course, you know, I don't think anybody was injured in the making of that video. So, you know, but it was really dangerous because there was people like right there when it happened. Nobody was expecting that because it doesn't happen. It's not normal. So, but at that same time, there was actually a ring of earthquakes because like earthquakes travel along the fault lines and like waves, and they went all the way around the whole planet in a straight line, and Yellowstone was the last spot to hit. Bam! It went.
Get out of here.
No, serious. Dutch Sense. If you watch Dutch Sense, you had like the whole video on it. Dude, it was crazy to see just how perfectly lined up it all is. He's really smart when it comes to earthquakes. He has some really good theories on their movement and when certain quakes are going to hit where. So, Dutch Sense, like SENSE, Dutch Sense. Okay, so the other really crazy thing that happened was there was 2 cyclones out in the Pacific Ocean. Basically hurricanes. They just call them cyclones. We call them hurricanes. And you might call it a cyclone depending on where you are in the world. But nonetheless, The one goes and like bounced off the Taiwanese mountains over there in Thailand and like spun. It swirls back up, joins in with its Gamma, Gaema was the cyclone name. They join together in a mega cyclone and just smack Western China. And so much flooding and damage, and they were already like super flooded. That's like where they're growing all their rice and stuff. That's another huge breadbasket of the world. So that happened, and golly, those people have just been getting hit after hit. So saying a lot of prayers for the people over there, because that was just like the mega convergence that doesn't happen. So that was the other thing that I was like, oh gosh, I'm gonna miss this on Changing Earth News. Right? But guys, food wise, you better be prepared. We have had so much weird weather in the United States, and gosh knows what they're doing with the politicalness. Idaho is out, the farmers are out protesting and whatnot. Ukraine's not producing. Southern Brazil has gotten hit by massive amounts of flooding, devastated wetlands over there by fire. Southwestern China has gotten hit. And so like food wise, like I've raised the alarm before, but man, with inflation and everything going on, if you're prepared and it doesn't come, great. No harm, no foul. You invested in food. But if you're not prepared, I'm sorry for like, you better get there right now. Beans, rice, basics, vinegar, salt, honey, these, get it done now, because you might regret if you don't. Okay, so sun today, the sun. So we've been having all these minor geostorms from the sun. Not really a big deal. M-class flares kind of consistently causing low-level geomagnetic storms. Not really like the hugest deal. Besides, it excites our planet a little bit, which you're going to be able to see when we get into our volcanic activity. But, sorry, I'm getting all excited now. I'm getting choked up.
It doesn't just excite the planet. It excites Sarah.
Right? I know. Like, woo! It actually does. It does. Like, people react differently to the CME energy that comes off of there. And some people get really ornery. That's why I pay attention, because then I know if my clients are going to be like weirder than they normally are. But we have this huge sunspot turning in towards Earth. So if it's something you don't usually watch, probably a good idea to go check it out. Just to see this huge sunspot, because it's really big. So check out Suspicious Observers. It'll be Earth facing probably by tomorrow. We should be able to see it on the sun feeds. So check out Suspicious Observers in the morning and check that out. Okay, so we have that going on. Let's jump into our week. We're going to try and blast through it. I'm way behind. So 29th, we had a 5.1 in Vietnam, Laos. We had lots of activity going on. 373 earthquakes or that were 2.0 or bigger. Biggest of which there was a 6.9 in the South Pacific Ocean near Fiji. On the 30th, there was that second eruption of the hot spring there at Yellowstone. We had 357 earthquakes that were 2.0 or bigger, biggest of which was a 5.1 in Greenland, which you don't normally see. But Iceland has been getting so active with their volcanic activity and their earthquakes. And so I'm not really surprised to see it in Greenland, but it's just not typical when I look at the maps and stuff. See, especially the biggest one up there. There was we're going into the 31st. So on the 31st, there was 382 earthquakes or 2.0 or bigger, biggest of which was a 5.7 in the South Pacific Ocean right near Fiji again. Some deep quakes hitting down there. There was a 4.7 earthquake in Utah. And so if you look up on a map, Google in the North American Craton, and you'll see exactly the plate of the United States that sits, that dominates the United States of America. And I've been watching earthquakes just ignite all around that thing. We had the one weird one a couple weeks ago up in Maine. We had that Yellowstone activity. Texas got hit by 5.1. That one's coming up. Utah. They're all on the North American craton. So it's actually starting to move a little bit more. And that can be really devastational for things like San Andreas Fault lines, the volcanoes that are all along the West Coast, and then also places like St. Louis and Memphis, where the New Madrid line comes through there. So guys, be ready. This is it's crazy stuff as far as it goes. So in Vermont, United States, they had some flash flooding. That's leaving homes and businesses damaged. Again, that's your dig out after those floodwaters comes through. In Canada's western provinces, thousands were under evacuation orders due to wildfires. It's just breaking loose up there. In Murfreesboro, Tennessee, there was an EF0 tornado. It's a 0, but still, there was a tornado touchdown for the first time ever in the month of July. So that is notable. Like, the tornadoes are like, nah, we're not done. Like, we're not going away this year. The California Park Fire created this huge fire tornado. This is a fire that's up in Northern California. We're going to talk about it in a minute, but it has already grown to their fourth largest fire. It is not good. There's a big haboob that hit Arizona. Haboob's just fun to say. It's basically a dust storm. And there was an explosive eruption at Fuego volcano. On August 1st, there was 360 earthquakes that were 2.0 or bigger, the biggest of which was a 5.6 in the North Pacific Ocean near the Aleutian Islands. So we're talking Alaska, we're talking our islands up there, lots of volcanoes up there. They're showing minor activity, but nothing of no eruption activity at this time. There was a 4.9 earthquake near Barstow, South Carolina. So again, that's the craton moving. Surrey County, Texas, 85 earthquakes in the past week. They had a 5.1 on the 1st of August. And they are starting to do a lot of investigation now into what is going on over there. They do a lot of fracking where they're putting the water back into the earth. But with that craton sliding, it's going to look for areas of release. And so if you put a hole in a balloon, where is the air going to come out, right? It's going to come out that hole. So when we do fracking and we do oil and that, and we're drilling into the earth, into the rock, we're actually providing it with a release point. So it makes sense that that type of activity would be happening more around where we're fracking, where we're doing oil drilling. Where are we at? 4.9 earthquake in SoCal. BC had a massive landslide on the Chilcotin River, causing flooding concerns. They're worried that was going to bind that river up, and they're going to have flooding after that. China, the Tofu Bridge collapsed. I don't know why they built it out of tofu, but probably not the best idea. No, I'm kidding. It was bad. It's not a joking matter. And prayers for everybody that's involved there. I just found it a little funny. Nebraska, 90 mile an hour winds, uprooted trees there. 80,000 people without power in Kansas City when that storm came across our plains. On the 2nd of August, there was 365 earthquakes that were 2.0 or bigger, biggest of which was a 6.8 in the Philippine Sea, near the Philippines, go figure. Thousands of earthquakes hit Mount St. Helens. These are little swarms, so no big ones. But when you get a lot of activity like that, it really makes you concerned with what's going on. North Korea, another one. North Korea is flooded, and Kim Jong-un was out in his boat surveying the damage, and they ran into a tree. So that was pretty funny. Russia is sending assistance to North Korea because of the flooding there.
Is he still stuck on the tree?
Yeah.
Russia trying to get him out?
Yeah, they're sending assistance, Russia is. China, unfortunately, there was dozens of people who died after Gami came through. That was that cyclone that converged with the other one. Dozens of people died from that event, and there was people literally, like in my books, trapped in areas under floodwaters and things like that. And I don't wish that upon anybody. So prayers for the families of everybody involved there, and I hope that situation improves soon for them. Oregon is experiencing massive wildfires. They're actually number one on our list this week. The Turkey Fire on the 2nd had already reached 300,000 acres. They had it 52% contained on Thursday. Idaho having some really bad wildfires as well. Nevado del Ruiz volcano in Colombia erupted. And there was, we did the earthquake information. Okay. August 3rd, 320 earthquakes that were 2.0 or bigger, biggest of which was a 6.3 in the Philippine Sea. Two really big earthquakes there over by the Philippines. This is all ring of fire activity. In Bengal in India, all of northern India actually is a very big humanitarian concern right now. They have been having massive flooding up there, mega landslides going on. They are losing lives up there, and it's a really big problem. So they're having a lot of flooding issues there as well. Sudan also flooding, and they are just more and more people are going into these rescue shelters that are already famine ridden. So a big humanitarian crisis there as well. California, that park fire that I was talking about has reached 400,000 acres plus. 560 structures have already been destroyed. So, I mean, you could take say some of those are sheds, right? Some of those are just like little outbuildings, things like that. But just think if it was 500 homes at $500,000 a pop. You can do the math on what that cost is. It's just insane. And then people are like, why are my prices going up? Well, there you go. Alberta, Canada, the Jasper fire is up to 7,500 hectares. So that hectares is like 2.4, I think, of an acre. So that's, 14,000 acres over there. 3 major wildfires still burning in Colorado. One person has died in that. That was in the National Guard. And then Cuba was hit by the tropical disturbance Debbie yesterday. Debbie is inbound to Florida right now, probably hitting pretty much as we speak. And then she's going to be moving north. So, guys, this was a great day to hear about the mega storms. Please be prepared. Please be ready. They're expecting a lot of tornadoes activity and things like that out ahead of this storm. So these storms have been nothing to play with. And it's better to just be ready for it and have it not be a huge deal than not be ready, obviously. Okay, so today, 382 earthquakes are 2.0 or bigger, biggest of which was a 5.5 in the central mid-Atlantic ridge. Pakistan, the glacial lake burst its riverbanks. Again, it's wrapped up in that same type of flooding situation as northern India. At least 3 people dead there. New violent eruption of Mount Etna happened this morning. And if you go to Zoom Earth, it's called Zoom Earth, you can look at what tropical disturbances are kind of manifesting out in the ocean. And there's 2 more cyclones that look like they're going to rev up to take aim at Western China again. So hopefully that won't happen, but they are poised, kind of sitting out there in the ocean right now, getting ready to move. As far as volcanoes, it's been 2 weeks since we had our last volcano update. So we have 34 volcanoes, 34 volcanoes actively erupting. That's the most ever that I've ever seen in years of recording. Okay. Typically 28 is like a lot, but we have 34. We have 28 showing minor activity, and we have 27 showing unrest. We have just been adding to our list as the weeks go. So this time we added one to erupting. We lost one in minor activity, but we also added one in unrest. So, you're looking at another volcano added to the total count. I didn't add them up this week. Also, national wildfire news is not good. We are at a preparedness level of 5. In just 2 weeks, the amount of actively burning acreage has gone up 1,420,000 acres. That is insane. Currently in the United States, there is 2,166,000+ acres on fire. We have 2 new fires, 85 total, and only 6 of those fires are contained. The number 1 state on the list is Oregon, with 998,000+ acres on fire. This is from 25 new fires today, and none of those are contained. So that is really bad news for Oregon right now. They do not have as much mass as California to be having 998,000 acres on fire. California is ranking number 2 on the list. They got a big fire going up north. They got a big fire going down south. 528,000 acres currently on fire. Most of those are from the Park Fire up north. They have no new fires. They have 11 fires currently burning, and 2 of those fires are contained. Washington is number 3 on the list. See, the West Coast has just been getting a high pressure ridge sitting in there. They have not been getting any of the rain. They have not been getting any of the cool down. It's just been hot and dry. So Washington, number 3 on the list, 151,000 acres plus, no new fires, 7 fires currently burning. None of those fires are contained. The number 4 on the list, Idaho, 62,000+ acres on fire. 1 new fire, 10 fires currently burning, and 2 of those fires are contained. So if you are on the West Coast, be wildfire ready, man. I think it's a perfect little storm out there. If you're in Florida in the South, brace for impact because she's coming. At least it's not like hurricane. It's only tropical storm, but it's supposed to be cranking some wind through there. So be careful, and lots of rain as well coming with this event. So everybody stay safe and be prepared. That's what it's all about. Alrighty. I told you I was way late. I should have stopped us earlier on our discussion. I was sorry, everybody who had plans at 6:30 or whatever time it is in your end of the world. But tons of stuff going on. I mean, it's crazy. And then the Olympics, of course, is a whole nother can of worms. But it's been hot over there as well. We'll just look at it from the weather point of view. So, alrighty. Well, thanks everybody for coming and listening. We're going to get out of here. We've already been on too long. Head on over to Amazon. Leave me a review for my books, beginning books, end books really especially. Pick one up while you're over there. That'd be great. Head on over to my YouTube and go ahead and give that a subscribe. And thanks, Chen, for joining us again on off your sabbatical there. We're happy to have you back. We love you. So.
Yeah, life got in the way for a little bit, but we're back.
Those things happen. They happen.
Yep.
So, alrighty, guys. Until next time, remember, dream,
survive,
thrive.
Thank you for joining Sarah and Chen for this episode of the Changing Earth podcast. Don't forget to pick up your copy of Day After Disaster, Without Land, The Walls of Freedom, Battle for the South, Dark Days in Denver, and The Endless Night at www.authorsarahfhathaway.com. If you love the Changing Earth series and podcast, become a supporter while you're there.